Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Holistic-Yogi podcast. I am your host, Kamala Ingrid, and today I have a wonderful person on board that I am so happy to have her. We're going to be talking about endocannabinoid system, which is basically what keeps the body in balance. And this is such a wonderful, I have the honors to bring her in. Deborah, can you please introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Deb Genereux. I have already been 69 years around the sun. I like to put that in there because I'm one of your older entrepreneurs. I represent Zilis, the ultra company, which provides products specifically for the endocannabinoid system, which we'll talk a little bit more about. And they actually refer to it as the ECS. So that makes it a little easier. I'm married. I have 2 adult children and 4 grandchildren. And I am a proud member of the Holistic Education Foundation of Martin County, where I live. We have several chapters, and I'm a founding member as well as serving on the board of directors. So we're looking to really expand in that area, looking for like-minded people who are open to all of this information.
I love it. How long has it been since you got into this lifestyle, this form of living? Breathing about it, thinking about it.
Well, I actually got involved in the business in 2019, but I wasn't really engrossed in all of the facts. As you said, there's so much out there that we know, but there's so much out there that we don't know. And what people don't know, they don't know. And It's kind of like, I always say that to them, you don't know what you don't know. So you need to listen and you need to learn, because this is really important.
Yes.
And the holistic part of this, though, is really interesting, because a holistic group of people getting together, wanting to share information and holistic modalities with other people. And that's exactly what we do. So, it's just a...
But what changed you? Like, what got you into that aha moment? What brought you here? Because this has only been about 3 years into it. So what gave you that massive turnaround? What led you to this place?
It made me look back at where I came from, even as a child, and not really feeling like I was good enough or I was smart enough. Some of it stems from, and I'll be very, very vulnerable here.
Right.
Just weeks before my 8th birthday, my 5-year-old brother was diagnosed with leukemia.
I'm so sorry.
And within a week, he was gone.
Wow.
And of course, that's an unimaginable loss for my parents. But I was grieving too, because I didn't know how to deal with it. Yeah. And I think right at that point, everything kind of fell on me. I had to be the good one. I had to exceed in everything that I do very well. And because I could never take his place, but if I was really good enough, maybe that would take away some of the pain.
Right.
And I think I probably carried that with me for a very long time. And it wasn't until I started having anxiety attacks and just not feeling overall wellness that I thought I really need to look into something and start to take care of myself.
Right.
And so I found Holistic Education Foundation many years later. But I think that's something you carry with you. Trauma like that is just so difficult. And there was no counseling. There's really no one to explain it to a young child.
Yeah, and I understand, because this has been my life work, basically, how to heal people from trauma work. And trauma comes in many different forms. And
exactly.
It may affect you very different compared, it may affect me, even if it's the same experience. So everyone holds the trauma to some extent, either deeper, some are able to release it easier than others. And all of it is based on their also rooted, how you are brought up, your where you came from, how would I say, depending on where you are in the world too, like your living experiences. So every trauma can be experienced in different ways. However, one of the things I love about what I do is seeing people heal through them and being able to have those aha moments and kind of work through them to basically become something of the past and no longer be something that triggers them. I too was one of those children, very young age, where I used to have a lot of seizures as a child. So I, the thing with me is that I did my own work, even though the drugs, were given to me. And all it does is numb you. It doesn't do anything for you. It's a masking. There's not any healing effect into it. And I started doing my own journaling, my own taking, and seeing what triggered it. And over a course of time, after I looked at my journals, which it's why I'm a big advocate, it brought me to realize what triggered it. And I started working on that and taking one of the medicines away. Over time, I would say I never had another episode. Of course, I didn't know if I was cured until I had my daughter, and I took a chance. And that was it. I closed that chapter once I had a very natural birth with her. And it was basically, and that was, my last episode was at 16. So when I had my daughter, it was at 24. So at that point, that was a big, wide opening, but I wasn't sure, I had no idea what was going to happen. That's a big, major life changing event for us. Hormones changing. So you don't know if you're going to react to it or not. And I sure wasn't certain with it, and I took the chance, and that was a big chance because I could have easily affected my child had I had it. But that was a chapter closed for the rest of my life, and from that point on, it moved me into doing what I do, which is making life, helping others and getting into the yoga and working with trauma release, which is my aha moment. So I wanted to really jump back into you again and talk about the system, how we are so blinded with schools and everything. And we could talk a little bit about this beautiful one that is the mystery of all, and how it really makes a big important one. So for those that don't really know your system, you should, but for those that are not very much aware, we have the 5 that we're so aware of, which is the circulatory, the pulmonary, the skeletal, the muscular, and our nervous system. However, what's our magical one that we're dealing with today?
The endocannabinoid system, the ECS.
Yes.
The ECS is a network of receptors that is just waiting for cannabinoids to come into them and attach. They're just sitting there waiting. And as soon as they do, as soon as they find their magic place there, everything starts to balance out. Everything becomes even. You're not tipped this way or this way. Right. And when you are, I'll give you a really good example. You're familiar with a mobile or a mobile, as some people call them.
Yes.
And they're very they'll move if they've got a wind going or anything like that. But generally, if they're just still, they're very much in balance.
Right.
If you were to take a paper clip and put it on any one little part of that, it would turn.
Right.
And everything would be out of balance. Eventually, however, just like our bodies, we're just wonderfully made. It kind of goes like this, and it oscillates, and it finds a new level of balance. It's not where it was before, but it still creates another level of balance for you, and you feel better. But during that time that it's oscillating, that's the time you have all the symptoms. That's the time that you're unwell. Mm-hmm. And that can last for a very long time if you're not going to be feeding it the phytocannabinoids that it needs from the plant at this point. Right. That's why CBD is so important.
Yes, I know you talked about that. And I also wanted to talk a little bit more going into now your business that you work with, right? You talked about this product called Glow. And
yes,
what is the difference with CBD and that?
Well, I'll tell you, this product is going to probably be something that everyone in the world is going to be wanting someday. It actually has, I have a whole document on it, and I can't memorize that whole document, but I will just tell you that it is CBD plus so much more. Wow. The CBD is 6 times as much CBD as we would normally be getting in our tinctures, which is 94% absorbable. So, and this is even more absorbable than that. So you're not wasting anything inside your body. It's using everything you give it. It has a number of other fantastic and healthful ingredients also that affect every single system in your body. It affects sleep disruptions. It affects inflammatory markers.
PTSD,
it affects weight.
PTSD?
It affects, yes, it affects anxiety and depression. Can't get into medical terms.
Right.
But as you said, you saw the woman with the Parkinson's. I have people who have so many illnesses and ailments who have been taking CBD, and we make others, CBG and CBC and CBN. Those are more precision. So people that might have really high anxiety might like to take a precision, what we call bliss. It takes you much more quickly to that place where you feel that blissful feeling. Yes.
How do you, like, for depending on the person, how do they know what to do when they receive this? Like what is it that you're like, how much do you know how much dosage you take, depending on how do you guys do that with the clientele?
Okay, there is a recommended dosage,
Mm-hmm.
and usually I tell people to start slow and go low.
Okay.
You may not need what's recommended. So you only need a little bit to try it. And if that's working for you, well, then that's a great spot. So you need to find your own sweet spot.
Got it.
But they do make the recommendation of 0.50 of the dropper if you're taking the tincture under the tongue, the sublingual.
Interesting.
And yes.
Which is stronger. And I also noticed that you guys, I did a little research with your company as well. And it also talked about you guys do it for pets as well.
Yes. Yes. Very effective. I could tell you a story about that. Actually, my daughter's dog last year was diagnosed with a cancerous tumor on his colon.
Mm.
And so of course she was going to do everything she could to keep part of her family alive. So she is very holistically minded also, but she went to her vet and they're good friends. And he recommended that she get chemotherapy. And so she said, I'll try it for the first round and we'll see what happens. She cleaned up his diet a little bit better and he went to chemotherapy. And 6 weeks later, when they checked him, it wasn't any better. In fact, if anything, it was worse. And he was quite miserable. So we did not have the pet CBD at the time, but we had the raw. And our veterinarian doctor was actually using the raw with her 4-legged patients. So my daughter said, well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try the CBD.
Oh my God.
They only gave him 6 weeks at that point. She gave him CBD. At his next follow-up, not only had the cancer shrunk, the tumor, but the metastasized nodules on his lungs were gone. And that never, ever, ever occurs. So anyway, he went from 6 weeks, he lived 7 months happily. And then on the very last day, it was almost like he said, okay, I've had that time with you. He just closed his eyes and went to sleep.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. So he was
unbelievable.
I wish I knew you before. I had rescued a cat. Well, my boyfriend and I ended up rescuing a beautiful cat that just was outdoor right in front of us. And we had him for 3 months. It was a baby too, 10 months old. That's what the vet had told us when we took him in to get him shots, everything. 3 months later, I don't know what happened. I noticed there was a issue with his breathing, and he had like a rapid breathing going on. And I said, something is not right. I'm taking him to the vet. That was Sunday night. Took him to the vet very early in the morning. Left him there so they can check him. Got a call around 2. Picked him up. The first thing she tells me is like, I don't know, out of the blue, he's developed a heart disease, and he's developed also asthma. And within that evening, I brought him home thinking that he would have at least a day or two, to see. Didn't think he was going to take a toll for the worse. And I wish I had something like this, it might have helped, from day one. But we don't know. It was the most heartbreaking way of losing a pet. But
yes,
I would love to have it. I have my other 3 pets now. I would love to try this stuff on them and just keep them healthy and balanced.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
And you say it also works with people with cancer. So if they have cancer that has been like in their remission, this is do they find, what is the success stories you've heard on that?
Well, we have some success stories actually, but the CBG more directly goes to the cancer cells, and takes care of that particular area. The CBD, obviously the CBD and the CBG combination are the best bet, because CBD is the main cannabinoid that we have, but the CBG is the mother of all the cannabinoids. So when they're used together, you have more of that entourage effect. If you get what I'm saying there.
Yeah, it's a much potent, which
yes.
is what they would need.
So there have been people who have been diagnosed with various stages of cancer who have taken the CBD and CBG and have become cancer-free.
Nice. And
Yes.
what about people that have had like when they can't find the issue? I have like a couple of clients of mine, and one of them in particular, since the whole COVID hit them, they have like some kind of anemic scenario, but they can't find the root of the issue.
That's interesting. I wouldn't really know what to say about that, except for the fact that I have had no one who has used CBD not report back to me that there was something probably that was going on with them that they didn't know what it was.
Yes.
But they know they feel better now.
They feel better. Okay. I'm just curious. I mean, there's so many different types of, people I come across, and the stories, especially with the whole COVID, which I think it's a little bit, interesting, because I was listening to Rogan's interview with Dr. Sanjay Gupta, and they were talking about something again that they didn't bring up to light on the whole vaccine, whereas if it's injected into the muscle, you are okay. But if it gets injected into the vein, where your vein goes into your bloodstream, it can be an issue. And I was like, wow. So, I remember one of my clients got very sick after the whole COVID shot, and it's been like reoccurring scenarios. So, you wonder sometimes on these things, and I'm a little skeptic when it comes to all these things, but we're in a tough situation now with everything that's going on. So I think it's important for people to be very aware of what they're eating and what they're doing. And I think the easiest and the healthiest thing to do is to stay in a very holistic approach of, we have not done that in the US. We have a big amount of people that eat nothing but fast food. And it's like one whirlwind to another. And all we keep going is to that modern medicine where it's all about big pharma, which, like I said, everything is a masking situation. All they do is mask the problem and not really create, go to the root of the issue, which the whole thing with the plant medicine is to go to the root of the issue and balance. What is one of the passion projects that you have with this company, Zilis? Like, what are the things that you love about it, and where do you see yourself?
I love the culture of the company. I love the fact that it's a pay it forward company, that for every one product that any ambassador sells, they match that to a woman who may be pregnant, who can't afford her prenatals, a nutrition pack for children in Haiti, just whatever is necessary or needed at the time. And we also program with a partner with Vitamin Angels. So we've provided, I think, over 12 million days of prenatals, and I don't know how many millions of days of vitamins for children. So I love that part about the company. Absolutely.
That's beautiful. That's
and the other real passion is it led me to other places where I probably wouldn't have, ventured. For instance, we have what we call here in Martin County, the Stewart Healing Mecca, where all of the healers, no matter what kind of healer you are, doctors, massage therapists, counselors, you name it, we all come together for one common purpose. And that is to essentially bridge the gap between Eastern and Western medicine. There are really reasons sometimes where we need to get hospitalized, or we break a bone and it needs to be set. Okay, we have to be realistic about that. But from that point on, where should the healing begin?
Right.
Now they've done that work. Now we need to heal ourselves. And how are we going to do that? Well, maybe it's going to require some massage therapy in that area. Maybe it's going to require CBD. Maybe it's going to require some other tool in our toolbox that's going to help us come right back to great health. Some people could have it there for 6 weeks. And if you're really doing what you need to do and using all of those tools, you'll probably be well in 2 weeks. So I think it speaks for itself. But that's really my passion project right now, because we're really working very hard on this to bring a whole health and wellness expo to this county and then spread it throughout in the coming years.
Beautiful. And how long do you see that coming into play? Like,
we are supposed to have our first annual in March of 2022.
oh, nice. It's around the corner.
Yes. And this is going to lead ultimately to what we consider to be, and this isn't my idea, this is a kind of a cumulative idea, but one person had it to begin with. It's kind of her passion. And then we've all joined into it to help to make it happen. A healing hospital where it's almost like a concierge hospital. You go with the clothes on your back, you check in. If you need antibiotics because you have a bad thing going on in your body, you'll get your antibiotics. However, once you've had the antibiotics, you don't want it to kill every good thing in your body too. You'll be whisked away to get your probiotics, prebiotics, plus biotics.
It's almost like a combination of modern medicine with you would do Ayurvedic in a sense.
Exactly.
So that's basically the science of, blending both of these worlds together. I love that.
And I think that's what we need. And I think that then and only then are we really going to be able to make that shift to really just the holistic part of this. I think you have to guide people kind of slowly in that direction because not everybody is open.
It is so true. It's so true. As I was telling you, I was doing some, when I spoke to you earlier and I got to some aha moments, I decided to do some research on this whole thing. And I couldn't believe, especially this one gentleman that I think his name is Hugh, where is it? I think I wrote it. Hugh Hempel has two beautiful daughters. And unfortunately, they are now turning 12. And they are 12 and from the last when I saw the podcast. And apparently the daughters they're twins, and they have the child Parkinson's basically. It's like amnesia, where the brain is not able to produce too much. It produces too much fat, too much of that cholesterol. Mm. So their babies are not able to. And one of the things is like, I guess these people live in Silicon Valley. It got to the point where now they're approaching everything holistically, and they'll start looking at plant medicine to help them ease and to also balance them out, which I thought was interesting to see, because, you could see he's speaking from his heart, how painful it is to see your family. And sometimes, and he talks about it also in his show, where it's like, this is very difficult for us because we are so closed up, not seeing what really plant medicine can do for you. And, I just find it very, people still have a taboo. And this is something, as we said, go way back from Chinese medicine, Chinese medicine is still doing their thing. Acupuncture now has become a big thing lately. You see a lot of people now seeking it. And even it took me a while to even understand how acupuncture worked. I took a friend of mine after I had a car accident to relieve that was an acupuncturist doctor. And she just says, come here, I'll show you how it works. And it took me to really understand it because I was in pain at the time. So she would ease my pain through just these needles. And that's when I just was like, how does this really work? I didn't have no understanding on it. And I was into it and I'm thinking, wow, it's crazy how when you are ignorance is bliss, you don't realize it until you actually dive into it, or you become a person of interest and you start looking and seeing how effective these long medicines have been there for so long. And our ancient, if we go back to our roots, we're talking about our ancestors, they all had it, they all did it, and we pulled away from it so much over the course of years and decades. So it's important to talk about it. Anything else you want to talk about the endocrine system and that we might have missed at this moment?
Well, let me just explain something to you about why Zilis is different. Sure. Because I think when they passed the Farm Bill, obviously, everybody said, wow, we're going to make millions on CBD. Let's get going. What happened, though, is it's not regulated yet.
Mhm.
So you want to be very careful about where you get your CBD.
Right.
And they're in reputable stores, don't get me wrong. However, Zilis has clinical trial studies done by a third party, and I can't mention the name, but it's a big clinic. They actually took 12 people. They gave them each a dose of ultracell CBD, and they drew their blood serum on the hour for 12 hours, every hour for 12 hours. And what they found was remarkable, because CBD is an oil,
Mhm.
and oil and water don't mix. So normally you would not have a high absorbability rate.
Right.
But their technology, the ultracell technology, made it such that all 12 individuals went to 94% absorbability over the course of the 12 hours. And then they let them go home. So they don't even know how long that actually lasted. That is unheard of. It's unheard of in the industry. And when I'm at events and fundraisers and things with other people, they will come over to me if I don't go to them first just to say hello. And they will say, you have the Cadillac, you have the top of the line. I mean, they already know. They can sell theirs because price point,
Mhm.
you know, it's cheaper. But when you look at it, if you're paying $100 a bottle for something and you're getting $6 to $8 worth of product that you're absorbing, versus Zilis, you're paying $100 a bottle and you're getting $94 worth of product absorbed in your body. So I just really did want to point that out. That is the biggest difference, and nobody can beat it.
No, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. I was reading some of your stuff and I was just like, in awe with, you also have like facial products, correct?
Oh, yes. And we're the only ones that have CBG, CBC, and CBD infused into skincare.
How does that work?
And honestly, I could put pictures up from before, but my skin was like really not good. We live in Florida.
Right.
You know, I'm out in the sun all the time.
Right.
And really, growing up, I did not use like sunscreen. We used to sit out there like this with
Baking.
baking, basically.
Baking. Oh,
So
yeah.
the skin has a lot of damage, but I just love it. I just absolutely love it. And people,
what's in the product? Like, it has a CBD, CBG, and what else?
and CBC, all three of those, all three of those. Don't forget, you have receptors in every cell in your body, but your skin loves that stuff.
How long do you see the changes like taking place within a week?
Oh, yes, you see the changes. I mean, a good thing for some people to do would be just to do half your face. And then even after a few days, I could send you a photo of me after 4 days. One side of my cheek that looked like it had craters in it, it was completely smooth. Yeah. So I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
So you're saying it smooths out the skin for people that have had those very bad acne as well?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I saw that. I was like, oh, what's the brand? What's that called?
It's called Lishe, and that stands Lishe. It means nourish in Swahili.
Beautiful.
And Zilis itself means multiplying nutrition, and that's why they named the company that.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
And this company comes out of where? Where is it?
The base is in Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, Texas.
The soil that the product is grown in is in Colorado and in Kentucky. And it's all tested weekly for heavy metals, chemicals, anything that could be harmful.
Harmful, right.
And from the time they extract it, put it in the bottle and seal it, they put a QR code on the back of the bottle, and you can pull it up on your phone, take a picture of it on your phone, and it'll pull up 7 to 8 pages
information
certificate. Yes.
Wow.
Everything that's in it, but more importantly, everything that's not in it.
Beautiful. Wow, that's incredible. And how long have they been out?
I believe Zilis came out in 2016, but they had nothing yet. They had the foresight that something was going to happen because the president, the CEO and founder of the company was already looking into meeting up with senators about the farm bill. Yes. He was very important in getting this bill passed. Wow. So he was already he was a visionary, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. You have to be in order to be where
Yeah.
you're at. I mean,
Yeah.
there's very few of those out there, but they're, they see something and they put it to action and make it happen, even if it takes them a little lifetime.
Yes.
But they make it happen. And so you see yourself being just moving forward with this company, I guess. Anything else you see this company doing down the road for, like, any other projects that they have besides? And then when is Glow coming out also?
The glow should be here by the beginning of November.
Oh, right.
And then what we're going to start doing are glow challenges. And the company is going to be rewarding people with a Peloton, $1,500 cash, vacations. So it's an incentive to get people to try it, because we know, again, double-blind study, there were 125 people altogether. 100 people, not knowing what they were taking, not journaling their foods, not exercising any differently, not eating any differently, whatever. They had no idea why they were taking it. The average person lost 18 to 22 pounds in 90 days.
Beautiful.
2¼ inches off their circumference of their waist, and up plenty more that I can't even get into. So they did not even know, but this is how their whole life improved in 90 days.
Beautiful.
And they had no idea what they were doing. So yeah, we can't wait to get this out there. And,
are they in
get
capsule or liquid?
It's actually like a little pixie stick. You just pour it in like you would eat it on your tongue, or you can put it in water and you can carry it in your gym bag or put it in your smoothie or whatever if you'd like.
And you only do it once or twice? How does that
You
work?
do it once in the morning and that's it.
That's it. That's so simple.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm not one to like to pop a lot of the supplements, but I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's so easy. That's the thing is the ease of it. That doesn't turn most people off because it's so easy to do.
Yeah.
It's one thing, one and done.
That's
now,
beautiful.
Does that mean you're never going to take B12 again, or vitamin C, or magnesium or zinc? We have all those ultra support products if you're in need of ultra support products. But this one is going to cover a lot of bases for you.
Nice.
So
I love that.
very, very exciting.
So it gives you also energy, boosts your
yes, very exciting.
I love that, especially with this time that we're dealing with this COVID. It would be easy to have something that boosts our immune system to keep us from catching anything or getting.
Yeah, and I think that's why people need to know about this. You know, as I told you before, I taught school I taught children. Yes. I like to say, I didn't teach school, I taught children for 22 years.
Beautiful.
But I love the fact that I'm still educating people about things at this point in my life, because I didn't even know anything about this until I looked into it. Yeah. You know, Zilis kind of found me because I was looking for something that was going to represent overall good health and not be so complicated. And then I find out we have an ECS, and here we go. We're going to balance it out and we're going to be fine.
Nothing is a coincidence. You found each other because you put it out there. And as they say, you know, it's a law of attraction. You are attracting what you so desire. So here you go.
Absolutely.
You know? And I really love this whole concept and the product. And I was very thrilled because I really did not know before I reached out, the depth of this information was going to be at. And I love it because I love just basically educating people also about good health. I'm 50, just turned 50. And I got to say, I can say, you know, a lot of people ask me, what is it that you do? I'm very holistic in everything I do. I'm a vegan, you know. There was a time where I went from pescatarian, vegetarian, and now I'm fully on vegan. And because the more I learned how to do the right recipes and things like that, and so now I just basically put all my information out to those that are part of my circle and are interested in it. I have an app now that's based on wellness and everything that has to do about educating people of living a very healthy life, mentally, emotionally, and physically, so you can make the best out of everything.
Yeah, I'd love to get that app.
It's on the Kamala Ingrid.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also available on Google Play and Apple, so you can get it on either Android.
Good. That's something I need to share. Yeah.
I thank you. And is there any words of wisdom you have for our listeners today?
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, at my age, and it's not like I'm an old person, you know, I mean, not 70, heading into 70s old, but at this point in my life to be doing something like this, I think it should set an example that you're never too old to start something and accomplish your dreams, because you need to remember to be kind, be thoughtful, be patient. And for the entrepreneurial spirits out there, stay up, stay focused, keep moving. The best is yet to come.
I love that, Deborah. Thank you. That is so beautiful. And we need that. I mean, like you said, you're never too old. And I know I started this whole lifestyle, well, I'm talking about like my whole online stuff recently in the past few years, a couple of years. And I was like, oh, how am I going to do this? I'm too old for that. And one of my friends called me up, you need to put yourself out there, will you?
Yeah.
And, here I am now, and I'm thinking, it's funny how you say that you're never too old. You're right. That's
really
just a number. It took me to realize, I think about not even a few weeks ago, maybe 3, 4, almost a month ago, I ended up having this aha moment where there is no time. You are here to do what you need to do and just flow with it. And it just hit me like I don't even know how to tell you. It's one of those little things that finally click in your head, and you're like, okay, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
There is no time.
Yeah, you have this moment right now. You have this day.
But I used to be worried about timing it by the age. I used to be like, oh, but I'm going to be turning 50 and I'm still here, not even, achieving what I want to achieve. And it's like, finally something told me, it's like, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Everything's falling in place. And I love that you said that to our listeners today, because that's exactly how I feel now. Like I used to be struggling with that. And I think it's important for them to hear that, there is no time when you can start whenever you want. Take your time. I think everything falls in place. We set a dream, we write it down, and people, information, some way, one way or the other, it'll come to you. You don't know how, but it'll come to you. And then the ball starts rolling. That's it. Just let it roll and you follow through.
And you, my dear, continue to shine that bright light.
Thank you. Same with you. Keep information is beautiful. I love all the stuff that's coming on. I would love to have you back again let's try maybe next year when things like take off a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I would love to really get more about when the glow starts going. I would love to see that, speak to you again about it, and we can go more in depth with that and push it, because I love this stuff. I definitely want to stay in touch with you and talk more about the whole project.
I'd love that.
Yeah, I think it's something amazing, and I definitely will help you through that as well. I'll push it out there for you.
Thank you.
I believe on products that have everything to do about healing people, and if it can heal you, why not?
Yes. Take the help you can get from this.
Take the help you can get.
Yes.
And the more we can spread the word out there, the better. I think, all it takes is one person, attracting another person, and before you know it.
And another person, and before you know it, yes.
Yeah. It's like the book with the outliers.
Yeah.
All it takes is one person, and
all it takes is one.
It takes off, like those penny loafers did it in that store.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So, all right, everybody. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for joining us today. I enjoy this concept. If you guys love to hear more information, I will put her contact on this podcast, so you guys can reach out to Deborah, and I will love seeing you guys pretty soon. Take care. Enjoy.
Thank you for joining me today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It's always an honor to be of service. If you wish to continue to deepen your practice, go to my app, Kamala Ingrid, and start your free 7-day trial.